In terms of kind of taking it back to the team, the challenge is when you take it back to the team today, the team is mostly white engineers or male engineers. And one area where you've really, I think, done just so incredibly well, and many obviously told me about how well you've done and the work that you've done, is in terms of really kind of making a change and making a difference in hiring women in kind of startups, but also engineering specifically. You said before that it's not the hardest thing to do. So why is it not? Why do you think it's over-exaggerated? And what are founders doing wrong today, just to set the scene?
Yes, I think you cannot hire diverse people if they are not even in your candidate pool. And so if you cannot get them into your pipeline, you should make a list with what makes your company attractive to these people. And if that list is short or there isn't anything you can put on the list, then the problem is you and the non-inclusive policies, and you should revise that.
So if we then kind of revise that and we think, okay, these are the 4 or 5 things that make it attractive, but honestly, we came out of Berkeley or Stanford, and I've just got a load of guys as my friends who I've got as the talent pool. Sorry, it's just common, we both know. What can I do to diversify my pipe to then work to bring in amazing female talent? What works, what doesn't work?
I think first being aware of unconscious bias, we tend to, when faced with a new task, to draw upon what has worked in the past. And so if you worked in all male teams and you do what has worked in the past, you might not lead down the path to where you can have diversity in your team. Then there are 3 things you could, like places where you can find these people. One, for your recruiters. I keep hearing from founders that I told my recruiters I want more women, but they keep bringing me white males. Well, get another recruiter. Second, you could, for example, reach out directly, but do it in a respectful manner, in a manner where you don't reduce people to their gender. Just saying that I want to hire women developers and I think you would be great for the role. Like, who wants to work for such a company? And third, in my free time, I started this thing called She's Ready to Dev, which is a community for technical women. It's free, no sponsors. You can post the job there. You can browse the candidate lists. And that's a way where I'm doing the work for you. You have to be intentional and you have to be able to hire these people to win them over.
You said about winning them over. So say we increase the quality of diversity within our pipe, great, we're super happy with that. But they've always got multiple offers like any great person does. How do we win them? And what does it take to get them over the line?
An example of this, for example, is Ashley at Axo. She hired the first 4 people, all women. So what helps if you have women in leadership, and second, if you have inclusive policies and processes to collect feedback from all, and you don't talk in the abstract that you're committed to diversity, you actually show some of these policies.
I'm sorry, I'm just asking the basic questions because I know there's a load, I'm writing down on my hand notes, because I know there's a load of dudes who are going to be listening on like a subway or on a tube going, okay, great. What are inclusive policies, just to help me actually understand that?
Benefits, parental leave, both for men and women, resource groups, training, introductions to potential mentors. And I do get that if you're an early stage company, you might not have the time to think about this because you're maybe seed or pre-seed, or maybe you might not have the time as a CEO to coach some of these people who maybe just graduated from Berkeley and they're just getting their first job. But there are other people that you could introduce them and give them that feeling that you are setting them up for success. That if they're joining, they're not just joining to be your token woman, you actually care about helping them thrive.
Does it piss you off when you see the token woman?
Oh, all the time. I was countless times the only female at the startup working or in an engineering team and now in boards. So yes.
Do you feel that? And I don't mean that too personally, but do you feel like you're the only woman, or actually do you find them quite inclusive where you're like, I am, but I feel fine?
Sometimes I do feel like I'm the only woman and the struggle is very much real. But I think as you establish a relationship with people and you earn their respect, even if you might be the youngest person in the room, things are starting to course correct.
Do you think things, sorry, I'm just completely going off course here. Do you think things are going better or worse in this respect? Because I'm worried actually in an economic downturn, economics wins, diversity and climate specifically are two that lose generally. Do you agree with me and do you share the same concern?
I think there are people who are trying to make a difference, who do not care if what gender you are, as long as you're building an amazing company. I think you just have to seek them out, and for us to make any changes, we have to focus on the positives and those people and help each other out. So if a female founder reaches out to me, even if it's out of my field of infrastructure and developer tools, I'm not going to be, no, thank you. It's not worth my time. It doesn't make me any money. I will try and get her introductions. I will post in the VC channels I'm part of. I will provide feedback on her deck. I will try to do something.
I totally get you and agree. Can I ask, what would you like to see change? What do you think really still needs to be changed despite the improvements that have been made?
What I would like the best to see is VCs who are in the business to serve the founders versus being in ventures to serve their ego. I think if you start with that thinking in mind, things will change. And yes, the founders don't have to be only men. You're there to serve the founders and the mission of those companies. And that doesn't have gender in it at all.